Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Rick Haaland. I am the host of Healthy Tech Talk Show. Glad to have you back. What is today? I've been in bed all day. Do you know that it's 6:57 at night? And I just rolled out of bed. Isn't that... Had a headache all day long. This is Sunday, September 2nd, 2012. I even forget what year it is. The blood sugar is sitting at 6. The blood pressure is sitting at 112/73. Now, I was a little bit suspicious of my blood pressure, so I changed the batteries. Sure enough, 112 seems right. And we did a constant check. We did a check with my wife as well. So, hey, I'll take 112. And the pain threshold today is between a 7 and a 7.5. Today, we are going to be talking about two fantastic subjects. One subject is something that you can get on your smartphone. It is called Posture Perfect. You know what this thing does? It tells you put it in your shirt pocket, and it uses the interior, there's a gyroscope, and it's called I forget what it's called right now. But it keeps track of whether you're sitting up straight or not, and it gives you an alarm if you're hunched over. So it actually helps you with your posture. Oh, and then we'll be talking about this book, Pain Relief, World Summit, Tapping. Interesting, fascinating thing on that. All right, we'll see you after the break. Just still trying to remember the internal gyroscope. Okay, see you in a minute. Bye. Welcome to the eFlexonics Podcast Network. Join us for the latest tips and tricks from experts in their fields, showing you how you can be happy, healthy, and more productive when using technology, either at home or at work. Remember, tech shouldn't have to hurt. Our motto is everything healthful and helpful for the computer user. Enjoy the show. Rick and Pat. Oh, did you hear that? My back just cracked. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, after the break. Now, I'm getting close to changing that intro. I want to make it more flashy, more fun. So look forward in the future podcasts to a changed, what do you call it? Introduction. Thank you. Okay. First up is, we're going to be talking about Posture Perfect, and I will hold this up to the camera. Okay. Posture Perfect. Now look at, can you see this? I'm not sure if the camera's going to pick it up because of the lighting in the studio. Okay, but I'm going to start the seismic mass accelerator. No, you can't see that very well. Anyway, what happens is this. It's got a gauge, and when you put it in your pocket, this device will actually tell you if you're leaning forward, if you're leaning backwards, if you're leaning to the side. And when you break a certain parameter, that means the phone knows if you're sitting up straight. It will give you an audible ping. It goes boop, boop, or you can put it on vibrate or anything to let you know that you are not sitting up straight. I think this is fantastic for people, that have chronic pain, that want to check their posture. They do it with an accelerometer. Now, this is the same kind of accelerometer used in actual washers and dryers. I believe high-tech washers. I think LG uses a seismic mass accelerometer. But I thought you'd like that. And for all you Android geeks out there, just go to the Android store and look up. I gotta turn it off now. Look up the thing in the store called Posture Perfect. Download the app because it's a great app. It tells you if your body is aligned. Now, so that's for chronic pain sufferers. Another thing for chronic pain sufferers is this. Okay, Pain Relief World Summit. Now, my reflexology instructor just passed away a little while ago. Her name was Yvette Eastman, and I miss her dearly. She was one of the good guys. But I want to talk to you today about tapping. You ever heard of this, tapping? She left me a whole bunch. Well, I got to pick a whole bunch of materials out of her apartment. Her family was gracious enough for me to do that. And one of the books I was really interested in is tapping, because they had a Pain Relief World Summit of 2011, and here's something that, and apparently it's scientifically based, and I want to go into it with you on other podcasts, from a person by the name of Dawson Church, Tapping and Modern Science, the Science Behind These Astonishing Results, by Dawson Church, PhD. Now, this is what he has to say. I think this warrants a look-see. When I first heard about EFT being effective for so many different problems, it didn't seem credible. How could a single, simple acupoint stimulation, so we're talking about acupoint, right? Tapping here, which is where I get my headaches. How could a single, simple acupoint stimulation routine help people suffering from arthritis, as well as migraines, as well as depression or sports performance? Now, in my case, of course, it's an injury, but I'm looking for anything to give me relief. But now that we've worked out all of the neurophysiological of EFT through research, the answer has become apparent. When you reduce stress, all of the body's systems come into balance. Just as stress throws off everything from your internal hormonal balance to your golf swing, when stress is corrected with EFT, all those same items come back into balance. Now that means tapping, right? In the next few pages, I'm going to help you understand what happens in your own body when you're under stress, and how EFT works scientifically to reverse the process. I'm also going to suggest ways in which you can tap to relieve pain and uncover the emotions, events associated with the pain. Think about the last time you experienced a big, bad event. It might have been losing your job, a financial collapse, divorce, or death in the family, an accident or illness. When you suffer an emotional trauma, your body goes into stress mode. This fight or flight response involves your entire body. The part of your nervous system activated by stress is called the sympathetic nervous system. The part that governs relaxation is called the parasympathetic nervous system. Nerves radiate out of the sympathetic and parasympathetic systems to every major organ in the body. When you're in fight or flight, your endocrine system, which produces hormones, also kicks into high gear. It increases production of adrenaline and cortisol, which in turn causes a cascade of other biochemical changes. When you later remember that trauma, bringing the event into your conscious, your body responds to the memory as though it were a present danger. I've heard of that before. Your body associates the memory stimulus with the need to go back into fight or flight response. Here's how I explain it in my book, The Genie in Your Genes. Now, I have actually watched my teacher, Yvette Eastman, do this, and I'll step you through the process, and it was fascinating. I don't know if it's very, very similar to this, but it was incredible. So she would take a person that has, say, for example, an injury through tennis, and she was using muscle testing. So what she would do is she would say to the person that has an injury through tennis, she said, okay, we're going to step your body through certain parameters or certain actions where you actually got hurt, and we're going to freeze your body in those exact poses. So she said, okay, so give me a swing like you're going to swing the tennis ball. Okay, so go way up before you hurt, like take your body into the position where you know it was before you got hurt. So the person would go up like they were holding a tennis racket and put their hand way up. And then Yvette would say, okay, put out your arm and we're going to muscle test. And she would press on the person's muscle, and it proved very, very strong. Okay, so that's what muscle testing was all about. So the person with the injury had their hand up here and like they were holding a tennis racket way back, and she would muscle test and it would be strong. And Yvette would say, okay, bring it down a couple of more inches. So the person would bring their arm down and she would muscle test and it would be strong. And then she said, okay, bring it down a few more inches, and it would muscle test, and she would be, and she would get to the point where she could actually muscle test to that person, where she would actually find the exact pose that person was in when the injury occurred. Because why? Because they remembered it in their mind. Their mind and body remembered that exact detail, because we all have that capacity. Then and only then, Yvette said, could she did some kind of a, it was long ago, she did some kind of a muscle test and also the emotional freedom tapping to release the trauma of that person's injury. Now, I have a feeling that this is very, very similar, but to watch somebody do that, it was just incredible. So in future podcasts, I'm going to talk a lot about emotional freedom technique tapping. It's difficult to believe, I think, for a lot of people, that just tapping on an acupoint and saying a few sentences will take trauma away. But let's explore. Let's not have a closed mind. So I just wanted to give you a little teaser, and I think this is going to be a podcast that could run into 15 minutes, half an hour, maybe even 45 minutes to properly get into it and give you a taste of what it's all about. So you may be able to try it at home. And hey, listen, if I can give you any kind of a tool to get, to help you control your chronic pain, I will do that. So this is Rick Haaland talking about EFT and talking about Posture Perfect on your Android device. So 2 tools today, 2 for the price of 1. Thanks, folks. We'll see you again. I will see you tomorrow. But, okay, so let's get back to this. I was in bed almost all day. I still have a headache. But it's one of those days that you just write off. You just say, okay, horrible day, lots of pain, lots of ice on the back of the neck, ice and then heat, and then you rotate it. You put heat up here and then ice. So I bet you we got up at, say, 9:30 this morning, went back to bed at 10:30, had breakfast, went back to bed. And I'll tell you what, it's almost 7 o'clock, and I just got up a little while ago. So it's one of those situations where you think, okay, incredible pain,